Hi, folks. We're excited to bring you Belinda Morrison of Be More Fitness and CB Rescue. This is our 5th episode in our Pitbull series. We are giving away a 5-pack of animal-themed books, including Bronwyn Dickey's Pitbull, The Battle Over an American Icon, as well as a dog goodie bag and a cat goodie bag. Go to thisispawprint.com/giveaway. Thanks, and on to the show.
Some people question why they're on this earth, and it's very interesting. I did even 10 years ago. I always said, why am I really here? Yeah, I love fitness. Yeah, I love helping people, but it wasn't like a burning in my heart. And then after we had Lucky, I just knew.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community. Episode 72. I'm Harold Ree.
I'm Nancy Ree. Today's guest is Belinda Morrison. Belinda Morrison is a master trainer and owner of Be More Fitness in Calgary, Alberta. She and her husband Colin have started CB Rescue with the ultimate goal to build an animal rescue facility.
As a 6-year-old, Belinda was attacked by a German Shepherd. Even though she grew up very fearful of dogs, about 8 years ago, her family adopted their first dog, and she now rescues dogs of all sizes and shapes, including a pit bull they met in Las Vegas named Lucky.
If you want to learn more about Belinda Morrison, Be More Fitness, and CB Rescue, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/72. That's the number 72.
I was born in Calgary, Alberta, into a big family. At around the age of 15, I started going to the gym, not really knowing what I was doing, but knew that I'd like to work out. And at around 20, I was actually married, and I had 4 kids by the time I was 24 years old. So a young mom. And then I actually went to university with 4 kids. So basically, I kind of took the hard way, and I did that. My husband also went to university while we had kids. I started my fitness business in the industry about 20 years ago, and I started my fitness business about 15 years ago. I do personal training. I started doing boot camps about 12 years ago. I'm actually the longest running boot camp here in Calgary, Alberta. I'm still running. I opened up a studio 3 years ago, and I do small group training, nutrition. What else do I do? I train people for the different mud races and Ironman. I've trained Buddhist monks. I've trained ex-prisoners of war, trained the local celebrities, celebrities in Canada and in Calgary, Alberta. And my fitness has kind of taken a big portion of my life. It's a passion that I've had, always trying to help people. It's not about being a size. It's not about a number. It's always just about being fit and healthy for you. My oldest client that I've ever trained was actually 103 years old. The oldest client I have in boot camp right now is 67, but I have had 75 and 76-year-olds. So, and I tell them age is just a number. You have a chronological age, but then you have a physiological age, and you can turn that back as much time as you want in terms of eating healthy and doing the right exercise and things like that. So people can't believe when they come to my studio and there's Sharon, who's 67 years old, but yet she's beating the 25-year-olds in lifts and everything else. And I tell them it has nothing to do with your age. It has to do everything with your training and how you eat and everything like that. So people are quite surprised.
What is that one thing that I can do to really improve my health?
For your health, I would say just start making small changes in your life in terms of even the nutrition part. Because sometimes people tell me, I can't work out, Belinda, and do this nutrition thing. It's just way too much. It's too overwhelming for me. So I just tell them, if you can eat less processed food and eat food like your grandmother or your grandfather would eat. So eat food from the ground up. Usually if the food comes with a barcode, not everything, but 90% of food that come with a barcode, you don't want to touch. So even if you're not eating organic, just eating those vegetables and fruit every day, making a better choice. So if you were going to go to a hamburger place, and I'm not saying that I haven't, because I do, I believe in having balance in your whole life. I would get a grilled chicken instead of a burger with cheese. And you could have a whole wheat bun, and you could have lots of tomatoes and lettuce on it instead of the cheese and all those other sauces. So people see me in the burger place and they'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I'll be like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with eating here. You just have to make better choices," right? So,
Right.
And that's what I tell people. Little things equal big numbers on the scale if you keep at it. It's called consistency. If they don't see things right away, they just say, "Oh, well, forget this. It's not working."
Let's just switch gears just ever so slightly. I was surprised to hear that not only have you rescued one dog, you actually kind of have your own rescue organization. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, it's kind of a funny story because I'll just tell you a little background really quick about me. When I was younger, I was actually attacked by a dog when I was 6 years old.
Oh,
So ever since then, and it was my fault, of course, but I didn't know I was a child, right? But I didn't know back then, I didn't realize that attack kind of played an influence on how I looked at animals, especially dogs and especially a German Shepherd, because that's what I was attacked by. So it's quite interesting because even in junior high, if I saw a poodle and I was walking home and let's say the poodle was off their leash, it got out of the backyard or whatever, I would actually jump on a car because I'd be so petrified. I didn't just not like dogs. I was petrified of them. And that's why I didn't like them, because I was scared of them. So anyways, everybody that knew me knows, oh, Belinda, she's petrified of dogs. Like, just scared. Let's rewind it 8 years ago where we got my first dog, Miko. So we actually went and got this little puppy and it was so small. And guess what? I still wouldn't hold the puppy. I was that scared, if you can believe it.
I believe it.
So we brought it home and people are like, "I can't believe you got your kids a dog. You're so afraid," and blah, blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened." And then a year later, we got Maya. And here she is, a puppy again, and I could barely hold her even. It was just a real kind of wall that I had up. And then I loved my dogs, but I still wasn't into this, as my friends call me, crazy dog lady. So we were actually in Vegas 5 years ago, my husband and I, on a holiday. And we see this homeless man outside of the Bellagio. And he has all these puppies. And I didn't even really know what kind of puppies they were. But one guy was there and he goes, "Oh, these are Pitbull puppies." And I said, "Oh, Pitbulls. Like, oh, whoa." So my husband's like, "Look how cute they are." And I'm like, "Colin, we already have 2 at home. Forget it." So anyways, we went out that night and Colin was really quiet. And I said, "You really want one of those dogs?" And he goes, "Belinda, we don't know where those dogs are going to end up. Like, this is not, I can't just leave those dogs." So I said, "Fine, we'll go back the next day. And if there's a dog there, we'll get it." So we go back. Sure enough, one puppy is left. So anyways, we pick up this puppy. I hand him some money, this homeless guy. And I said, "Okay." And he says, I hope you'll give him a good home. And I said, "Well, believe me, I will." Right. So anyways, we picked him up. We brought him to the vet and we got him transported back to Canada. We've never done this before. I didn't know anything about pit bulls. I didn't know anything about this type of dog. So brought this dog home. And the more that I have learned about this breed is just opened up my eyes to, like, I can't even believe it. So I belong to a whole bunch of pit bull groups now. And we saw that all this breed discrimination against these dogs. So, and I believe it's in the U.S. too, called BSL, breed selective legislation.
Yeah, breed specific, breed selective, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we call it here. So I did not understand this. And I was like, well, I don't understand why these dogs are being targeted. And then I see Cesar Millan. He came over to Canada and we have a province ban in Ontario. And he was even sent back. He could not come over with, I don't know if it was Daddy or Junior, but one of the dogs, he was sent back. They're like, "Sorry." And I couldn't believe that people were putting a stereotype on a dog just because it looked a certain way. And I couldn't understand it. And my dog, Lucky, we named him Lucky because of Vegas.
Oh.
He is the sweetest dog you've ever met. And he's big. And anybody that comes to my house, they have even told me, "Belinda, I always thought I never trusted pit bulls because of what the media has said and what we've heard. But when I come to your house, I have totally changed my mind on this type of dog." So it was quite interesting. So then I said to my husband, "You know what? And then I felt it in my heart. It was just like once he was about a year old, I just felt this feeling in my heart. I don't know how to explain it, but I knew that I was supposed to help animals and dogs particular, and of course pit bulls, but we help any dog. Anyways, I told my husband, I want to start a rescue. I know I always said I would only start a rescue when I have millions of dollars in the bank and I'm going to open this big facility. And I said, no, I'm going to start now. So we came up with a name and we did our in-home, and we've saved, a lot of dogs, and we brought them in. I have 4 children. They're all adults now, and they all love dogs. Like my one daughter's in California, and she's got a full ride to Arizona State for hurdles and long jump. And wherever she goes down there, she sees a dog that needs help. She's phoning me, Mom, I have a dog here. Can you send money for a collar so I can, whatever. So it's so interesting that all my kids have taken the same path as me, that they're all just the biggest animal lovers. We want to actually move the rescue. We're in Alberta. We want to move to BC and open up a rescue there with a building and with a swimming pool and exercise area, because I am a personal trainer. And like Cesar Millan's philosophy about the first thing you give your dog is exercise. And I'm totally 100% with that. So I believe in giving the dogs exercise and love. And some people question why they're on this earth. And it's very interesting. I did, even 10 years ago, I always said, why am I really here? Yeah, I love fitness. Yeah, I love helping people. But it wasn't like a burning in my heart. And then after we had Lucky, I just knew. Once I saw the discrimination against the dogs. And so now what I do as part of our rescue is we educate. We educate people about the American Pitbull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier, the Bull Terrier, any kind of bully breed, really. We try and educate people about them and bring to light the ignorance and fear about these dogs, because that's basically what it is.
What would you say is the state of rescue, at least in Calgary, as far as you've seen?
Calgary, Alberta, in terms of the animal control, we'll call it the pound here, we actually have one of the best systems in North America.
Great.
And it's known all around the world, our system. So we have, I can't say for sure what the percentage is, but it's a very high percentage of dogs registered, spayed and neutered. And so we're very proud of that. We do have a lot of rescues. So I actually help rescues also. I don't just rescue with my own. I just had a dog here last week that was just adopted on Saturday, and that was from another rescue. In the city, it's pretty good. Like, we have a lot of rescues. It's out in the rural areas where we're having problems with the dogs, right? They're not spayed or neutered. And this is the whole problem. My pit Lucky, I actually got him DNA tested, and he's a American Staffordshire Terrier, flat-haired retriever, and a bull terrier. But he looks like a pit bull, but you can tell there's something else in him. So there's many dogs that most of them are mixed.
Can you tell us the name of your organization and what's the most animals you've actually fostered at your home?
We've probably had, I have 5 of my own dogs, and then I have Jax right now. We're trying to find him a home. He's been with us for a while. So we just last week had 9 dogs. We have a smaller house. We actually downsized from a big house to a smaller house, and now, but because I am so adamant on exercise, I always tell people it doesn't matter how big your house is, because if you take your dogs out, they're going to be, even people that come into my house say, wow, your dogs just are so chill. And I'm like, that's because I exercise them so much, right? And I think that's the key with dogs. It's just, if you exercise them, they're going to be really cool and really chill at home. And they're going to be a more balanced dog.
Right.
So, but obviously I can't take in 50 dogs at one time.
Right.
The nice thing about Calgary is we don't have a dog limit here.
In the home dog limit.
Yeah, in the home. So I could have 100 dogs if I wanted. Not that I would, but I register all my dogs, even if I foster them and they're through me, I still register them through the city.
Wow, that's very generous of you, because it's not free.
No, it isn't. And I don't even think that I have to, but I'm kind of on the ball and I like to be legit. So the city always knows what kind of dogs I have here, how many dogs I have here. I think if you're a responsible pet owner, really, at the end of the day, there's been a lot of talk about, cutting it off till 3 dogs or whatever. I always tell people you can have one dog and not be a good pet owner, right?
What's the name of your organization? And is it an unofficial organization? Is it an official registered nonprofit? What would you call it?
It's a little different in Canada. It takes a lot more to get. I know you guys have the 501 or
501c3.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so it's a little bit different in Canada. We're a lot more stricter, really strict here. But I am just actually incorporating. I've had it for a while. It's called CB Rescue.
Is it named after you and your husband?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, Colin and Belinda. So we're actually we're registering it under calling it a CB Rescue Foundation. And then once we get a certain amount of dogs saved, we can actually apply for the charitable donation once we register it for a society. So that's what we're doing in the process. But to me, it wasn't really about ever getting the charitable donations for me. We do so much out of our money, my husband and I, that it was just something that I wanted to do. I didn't care about that. It's not in my radar right now. I just want to help the dogs. And that's all I want. I want every dog to have a great home. And so we're really picky because I only have one dog or two dogs at a time. We can actually find the perfect home. So we do home checks. I do a vet check. I do a trial. If it doesn't work out, the dog can come back to me. These people I'm very close with. So I just had a lady last week. I don't know if you've heard about the Fort McMurray fires, but that's
of course.
Yes,
yeah.
that's in my area, right? So, and she had this dog that we rescued, Security, in Fort Mac. And I was like emailing her, are you guys okay? Are you okay? And they got out, their house burnt to the ground, but she got the dog out. So here she is emailing me saying, hey, you want to meet at the dog park when I'm in town? So that's how we are with the people that adopt our pets, because I'm very particular. So I interview, and just because you have an interview doesn't mean you're going to get the dog. Like I'm that particular. When you have a huge rescue and you've got 100 dogs, you're just trying to find them a home, and they do the very best they can do. That's a nice thing about having my fitness business. This is why I'm able to do what I can do, because I have such a different system. So I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I train at 5:30, and then I don't train till 9:30 again. So I have a very flexible time frame where I can be at home with the dogs a lot. So I can take them for walks. We go to the park. We actually pay for a private dog park, and we take all the dogs in the house to this private dog park, and there's no other dogs there. So we get it for a whole hour. I have the luxury of that. Somebody that's working 8 or 10 hours a day would have a hard time doing what I do. Right. I mean, that's why I'm able to do it. My husband works full time, and then I'm able to work my hours and then take care of the dog. So it actually works very well for what I do.
Any particular dogs or really any other animals that have really touched your heart or really made an impact on you?
Really, it's just, how do I explain this? My husband is a minority, so he's Afro-Canadian. We call him, he's a black guy. I'm just going to say it. That's how we say it in Canada. We're kind of
okay.
Okay. So anyways, when I look at those pit bulls, I feel like it's in a way of racial profiling. And I think that's why me and my husband were drawn so much to them, because he kind of knows how that feels. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no, it does.
I think if you're not a minority, and I was raised in a minority family, so I've seen the racism, I've seen what goes on, and then I married a black man, and then of course I have 4 children. I've seen it firsthand. See, if you can't walk in somebody's shoes, you can't really know what they're feeling and why they act a certain way. They're not understood. But the funny thing is, like I just told my husband, this has turned into a whole different view for me in terms of, we heard about the gorilla being shot at the zoo.
Right,
which I'm sure you heard about.
Yes, already, yeah.
And I was furious. And because, I'll be having grandchildren down the road, I said to my husband, I'll never take him to a zoo. I'm never going to take him to a circus that has animals. If the circus has no animals, fine, I'll be there. But it's kind of opened up my view to this that I never knew before. I took my kids to the zoo when they were small. I never thought a second thought about it. But now, even eating different things, like I won't eat pigs now, and I don't eat lamb, and I don't eat, like I'm trying to get away from the meat and that's
Sure.
just something that's coming inside of me, because I feel like every animal has a place on this earth, and they should be be able to live freely, and I don't think they should be in cages. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is. Like, I had never have thought this way before until the last few years.
Several of our guests are vegetarian, vegan, and I would say, just like with you, it kind of does go hand in hand with animal rescue. And I think a lot of people can see that.
Yeah, it's so interesting how it kind of evolves.
Right.
Like, I never thought in a billion years that I would not eat a certain meat. Like, I just,
Sure.
I'm a personal trainer. I have my protein, but now it's just like, no, can't do it. And somebody, actually, it was my sister the other day. She says, you should come out for the rodeo. I won't even do that. And the Calgary Stampede is known for their rodeos.
Oh, I know. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
You're in rodeo country, right?
I'm in rodeo country, but I won't go to the rodeo. I don't know what it is, but when I look at those animals, it's just like a horse looks like a big dog to me.
Mm.
The way that you can look into their eyes, and they're so innocent, all these animals on this earth, and the way some people treat them is just so appalling to me. I'm always talking to the anti-dog fighting campaign. I'm always emailing them or Facebooking. Did you hear about this group? Did you hear about these dogs? And I'm over here in Canada. Like, we don't have a lot of dog fighting like you guys do in the States, but we do have some. Here I am in Canada, and I'm still trying to make a difference over there because I think that is just appalling.
Any other sort of interests that you have that you like to share?
When we go on trips, we always, and I invite a lot of my friends on these trips, and what we do is we take donations and anything that the rescue needs wherever we're going, and we bring them down. And a lot of airlines will let you take, it's called humanitarian suitcase per person, and you could fill them up with collars and leashes and food or whatever. We've even done things for disabled kids in Mexico, whatever we're doing. So everywhere we go, I tell my husband, listen, if I'm going to go to a third world country, I have to leave that place better than I found it. So it doesn't matter where we go. We've been to Punta Cana. I brought 2 dogs back from there. We've been to Mexico. We're kind of all over the place. And every time we go, I even get my friends involved now. We go to spay and neuter clinics down there. We help them with the animals. So I think that if you're going to go on a holiday, you as somebody that is so fortunate as ourselves should give back. That's something that I'm very, very big on. It doesn't take a lot, right?
No,
it
does
doesn't.
not. It does not.
It doesn't. And, now I have all these friends all over the world that know me because, Colin and Belinda, they brought their friends on. They brought us all this and they helped us. And I try and network. And I think that's one thing that I'd like to communicate to people is you can make a difference where you go. Just go on Facebook, try and find whatever group, wherever your area that you're going in, and people will be ready to help you. So right now I do charity boot camp. So every Saturday, people come to this field and we do all this circuit training. And for the whole summer, we're actually taking money and we're going to buy a exercise wheel for Maui Pitbull rescue.
Oh, wow. And what does the exercise wheel do?
Well, it's this huge, I don't know if you've seen it, but they're huge, huge wheels, and the dog can just go in it and he propels it with his own energy. So it's no,
Awesome.
There's no engine to it, but they have a lot of dogs in Maui Pitbull Rescue. I was just there a few months ago, and I'm telling you, I was in tears when I left that rescue. I really was. I couldn't believe the pit bulls that they had on this small island. And, there's only a couple running it, and the dogs don't get the exercise that they should. They're trying their best there, right? But you can only do what you can do. So when I got home that night from the rescue to the condo we were at, I was really, really actually upset. My friends saw that I was distraught. And I just kind of was sick to my stomach. Like, how could I help? And then in my dream, it came to me, Belinda, you're a trainer. Buy them an exercise wheel.
All right.
So anyways, that's what we're doing now. So, it doesn't take much. You just have to be creative and think, how can I help?
Do you ever sleep? When do you stop?
Everybody always asks me that. Belinda, I think that you like stress. Like, I just think you do. My friends tell me this all the time. Belinda, I don't know how you do it. But you know what? It keeps me going, and I always, it's just me, right? It's just in me. So it is what it is. But
if people want to find you, whether it is your training business, your fitness business, or your rescue, what are the best ways to find you?
Well, on my Facebook, I actually do have, I think, over 106,000 fans on my Facebook page.
Awesome.
It's Belinda Morrison, Master Trainer, or Be More Fitness. You'll see me there. They can like my page there. And then we have CB Rescue on Facebook also. And then, of course, my websites are all on the Facebook. You can just link to them.
If you ever had a magic wand and could change something about animal rescue, what would that be?
I did not know this before, but I'm going to say the majority of rescues out there really are doing it because they love the animals. So I'm going to say that out there. So please, I just want to say that first. But there are some rescues out there that some people that are, how do I say it? The animals is not the number one priority. It could be the money. It could be whatever, the power or whatever it is. I don't know. But I just know from a lot of rescues that there's been some ruffled feathers between the rescues, who gets that dog or things like that. And I'm going to tell you, I am friends with a lot of people on Facebook that are some of the best people that I've ever met. And I think if everybody would just put the dog's best interests of heart first, and don't think about if you get the credit about saving the dog or giving the dog the home or whatever. I don't need credit. And that's what I want people to know is, put that dog first, put the animals first. And then once we do that, we can all help each other. I think rescues should help each other. And that's why I help rescues. And a lot of rescues don't. You might not know that, but a lot of rescues would be like, nope, we stay in our own guidelines and we just do our own thing and not me. If I see another rescue that needs help, it doesn't matter because to me, it's always about the dog.
What goals have you set for yourself, let's say, for the next 12 months? Anything that you're trying to accomplish?
We're going to get our CB Rescue Foundation incorporated into a society. And then we're actually going to BC this summer, my husband and I, to look for land for our rescue because we want a physical space. So that's what we're doing now. So we're going to be getting our land, and then hopefully we can be fundraising for the building. And, like I said, I want an agility place, exercise, swimming pool, because I just don't want the dogs to be sitting in cages all day. That's not my idea. And, I told my husband, if there's dogs that cannot be adopted for whatever reason, then they will stay in the rescue, in the sanctuary with us.
What's the draw of British Columbia for you and your husband?
Weather. That's all it is. And you know what? It'll be better for the dogs, right? Because in Calgary, I don't know, it can get very cold. Now, last year, we hardly had a winter. The last year before that, we hardly had a winter. So I don't know what's going on over here, but it is getting warmer. Now, I don't know if it's just fluctuating and we're just going up and down here, but BC has more stable weather throughout the year, and it's going to be easier to have a rescue in terms of exercising the animals. It's not minus 20 out. It's going to be just a lot easier for the volunteers and us to deal and take care of the dogs.
Okay.
And in my opinion, just because I'm such an advocate on exercise, so I have to have that component in my rescue sanctuary for sure.
Anything that we haven't covered?
Well, if you go on my Facebook page every Sunday, or even on my fitness page, every Sunday I bring awareness to an animal or an animal in need. Like Bob Barker, spay and neuter your animals. If we could just get that going, and that's another thing me and my husband want to do. We want to have the biggest spay and neuter clinic across Canada to help the animals because that's what we need to do. If we could just do that one thing, just get everybody just to do it, what a difference we could make for the animals.
We want to say thank you to Belinda Morrison for sharing her story and for being a rock star in animal rescue. If you want to learn more about Belinda, Be More Fitness, CB Rescue, and see some terrific photos, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/72. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Simply look for This is Pawprint, all one word. If you want to listen to more episodes of Pawprint, find us on your favorite podcast app like iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. Hit subscribe to get the latest episodes immediately. Remember that we are giving away a 5-pack of books, a dog goodie bag, and a cat goodie bag. Go to thisispawprint.com/giveaway to learn more. We want to say thank you to all of you, our listeners out there, for sharing Pawprint with your friends and family. And remember, you spread a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time for another episode in our Pitbull series on Pawprint.
Pawprint is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.